So lately, I've been challenging myself to learn the Brad Paisley song, Cluster Pluck. And in case you haven't heard it before, it sounds a little bit like this. Mind you, that is slowed down to 75% of the original speed. The song's literally insane. But that's what you get when you bring in the best and the fastest chicken pickers alive. You get a song that is insanely good, but also insanely fast and insanely hard to learn how to play. And some of you out there might be thinking, oh my gosh, that is not insane to play. That is literally impossible. What can I get out of this video? While others of you might be saying, yeah, that song is actually pretty easy. To that I say, can you teach me a thing or two? But regardless of where you're at in your guitar playing, it got me thinking, what are some easier ways and ways to speed up learning difficult songs on guitar? Well, this is what I came up with, so let's get into it. Now, the first thing to do to learn difficult songs on guitar is to have the ability to slow the songs down. If you listen to any interview with your favorite guitar players before like 1995, they will all tell you the exact same thing. They spent hours upon days and weeks in their bedrooms with their record players, listening to the records and slowing them down bit by bit so they can figure out the guitar parts. But the trick to this is, and no interview ever seems to ever mention this, is when you speed up or slow down a record, the pitch actually changes because of wavelengths and science. So they had to compensate for that, knowing that, hey, yes, this is slower and I can figure it out more, but I also have to adjust the pitch to make sure that it's actually in the same key of the song that I'm actually learning how to play. Makes you realize how good musicians' ears were back before the internet. But luckily, we live in the digital age where we have tools that can compensate for that and slow down songs without changing the pitch. So you can work on your ears and practice some hard parts on guitar as well. There are some amazing apps like Transcribe and the amazing Slow Downer, and the only downside with these apps are that you have to have the musical files on either your device or your computer. And again, it's not really a problem for those of you who were born before 1995 like myself, but those of you who came after that and grew up in the age of the digital media and didn't spend hours giving your computers viruses trying to download songs from Napster and LimeWire, there's still ways for you to slow down your favorite songs as well without having to have the files downloaded to your computer. And you're on the website right now. It's called YouTube, and personally, it's the one that I use the most when I'm trying to learn how to play difficult songs. And if you look down at the bottom, near the bottom of the screen, there will be a gear icon. Go ahead and click that and change speed. From there, you can change it to like 75%, 50%, 25%. And if you're certifiably insane, you can go the other way and do it like 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and 2 times the speed. Again, only do that if you are clinically insane. And if you want something like in between, like say 85%, you can go ahead and hit custom, and you can type in whatever percentage you would like to practice. And YouTube has this cool functionality, and I'm not a computer programmer, I don't know anything about it, but it essentially has an algorithm that allows you to slow down the speed without changing the pitch. And it's super helpful for learning things like playing music. But slowing down is only half the battle. You need to have a way to loop it so you don't have to go back, put your guitar down, pick up your mouse and scrub back to the part that you're trying to learn. You need a way to do that automatically so you can maximize your efficiency of playing and practicing. And that's where this guy comes in. It's called a Vidimi pedal. They have a wired version and a Bluetooth version, but essentially it allows you to loop YouTube along with other applications with your feet. You can create loops, you can speed things up, slow things down, go back to the beginning of a loop or go back to the beginning of a song, play and pause, go forward to the next song or for the end of the loop or the next part of the loop. I don't know. It's really cool. I'm not sponsored by this. I'll leave a link in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out. I have found it to be the most useful guitar tool that I have for practicing and playing difficult passages. And if you're on a tight budget or you don't want to buy anything, there's a cool website called looptube.io that essentially allows you to copy and paste any YouTube URL, paste it into their website, and then you can slow it down and add your loops by hand manually. It's a little more work, but hey, it's free. So there'll be a link for that in the description box below. Completely free, no affiliation either, so go check it out. The next thing I utilize to work on difficult songs is to remove any and all distractions. The internet is a wonderful thing. I love the internet, but it is filled with distractions. Heck, even when I was trying to script out this very script, I went down a rabbit hole of an hour and a half just because of a distraction. I mean, like, I should have been done by now. I'm typing this, not actually filming this, I'm filming it at a later date. You know what I'm trying to say. It took a long time because I got distracted. So when I do pick up my guitar and decide to do deliberate practice, whether it's for 30 minutes or an hour, I'll set my phone into one of these focus modes. Your standard D&D, do not disturb focus mode will work perfectly fine, but I like to create these little shortcuts at the top of every one of my screens so I can force myself into specific focus modes. It's a pretty cool way to block out all the apps that I don't want to be distracted with or don't want to be using while I'm in my creative flow state, but it also allows me to have notifications from like my fiance or my dad or anybody else who I deem worthy of interrupting my guitar practicing. If you're curious about how I set this up, a guy named Tim, he's pretty cool, he put out a whole tutorial of how he set his phone up, and I'll link it right here in the card above. Now that solves the phone distraction, but what solves the computer distraction? That rabbit hole that I mentioned earlier, yeah, that was a computer distraction. So we need to solve that. And sure, if you're running a Mac, you do have the ability to add a do not disturb function to your computer, but the temptation to open up a web browser and just go surfing is just too tempting, at least for me. And that's where music stands come into play. Music stands allow you to get yourself away from your computer, have an analog version of whatever you're practicing. And this portion of the video is sponsored by KraftGeek. Now, you can get your normal run-of-the-mill music stands from like a Guitar Center, and they're okay, they do the job done, but they're either really flimsy and break really easily, or they're super bulky and super heavy. And that's where KraftGeek comes in. They designed this super sturdy, super sleek, portable music stand that has everything you need to practice. It has these super cool clips where you can hold your sheet music. Who am I kidding? We're guitar players. You can hold your tabs here, or you can hold your tab books. And it has this cool clip so you can hold your phone there instead of a metronome or a tuner. Just make sure that you turn off all your notifications because we're trying to minimize on distractions here. And it even has this light, so if you're playing in a dark part of your house, you can see the music in front of you. But maybe you have a well-lit house. To that I say, good for you. But what if the stage that you're playing on isn't that well lit? Here's your solution. The other great thing about the KraftGeek stand is you can fold it up and put it into this nice carrying case. It's about 2 feet long and it's perfect for on the go. And doesn't take up a whole lot of space, which, you know, in this day and age is quite awesome. I think that is an underrated value set of things that don't take up a whole lot of space. And I know what you're probably thinking, Ryan, I am a rock star. I don't have music stands on my stage. I need to run around and do my dance and all that stuff. That is so unprofessional. And to that, I might say, you know, you might be a rock star on stage, but what if you need a music stand at rehearsal? Nothing wrong with practicing with some music in front of you just to make sure you nail it and get it right at rehearsal, right? Or what if you're filling in for another band last minute and you don't know all the materials? I think it's okay to have a sheet music and guitar tabs and chord sheets on stage there in that situation. What if you're playing in an orchestral pit for a musical? Or what if you're a singer-songwriter and you're playing your songs for the first time ever to a live audience, and having your chords and your lyrics in front of you just give you a little bit more ease so you can play and put your heart into those songs just a little bit more. You get the point. There's a lot of different scenarios where having a music stand, even in a live situation, makes a lot of sense, not just for at home. The fact that it has this minimalistic design and that I can fold it up into a very small and compact space is what really sold me on this unit. And the fact that it won Best in Show at Winter NAMM this year, earlier in 2024, that's got something to be said about it too. Thank you, KraftGeek, for sponsoring this section of the video and sending me a music stand. If you're interested in learning more about it, there'll be a link in the description box down below. The next way to learn really difficult songs on guitar is to improve your ears and learn music theory. And you've probably noticed that a lot of these tips kind of overlap with one another, and that's the point. They're all designed to compound with one another so you can learn your favorite guitar songs faster and more efficiently. Because deliberate, undistracted practice is what ultimately will make you become a better guitar player. So I found that ear training is a bit more difficult than music theory, though a lot of people will argue that ear training is part of learning music theory. I did a full video on teaching you how to learn how to play a guitar solo where I broke down Driving Rain by Slash and the Conspirators. Check out that video over here. Broke down the whole solo, show you how I did it, and hopefully you can get some nuggets away and start learning your favorite guitar parts as well. As far as music theory goes, you can go down a deep, deep rabbit hole on YouTube learning all things about music theory, which is why I created a guitar checklist of all the things that you need to learn how to play your favorite songs. But if you see this guitar checklist and you're like, wow, I know most of this stuff, congratulations, you're pretty well off on your music theory, especially from a guitar player's perspective. And if you see the checklist and you're like, wow, I don't know any of this stuff, don't worry, that's literally what we're all doing. We're all trying to better ourselves. We're all constantly learning things. And this checklist can serve as a guide for you to know what to study next. And then getting that satisfaction of checking things off as you master each piece. View this more as a roadmap to guitar proficiency. Will this make you the best guitar player in the world? No. No, it won't. But will this allow you to hang and jam with anybody? Yeah, for the most part. And you'll be able to do so comfortably, which is half of the battle and gets you a lot closer to where you want to be. If you're interested in the cheat sheet, check out the pinned comment down below. It's completely free, and I would love to hear what you think about it. Once you're equipped with that knowledge, you'll be finding learning new songs is that much easier because you can almost anticipate what is coming next. But music theory is just theory. It's not music law, which is why you need to improve your ears so you can really figure out exactly what the guitar player is playing, which is why I made a whole video over here about how to improve your ears. Also, if you're curious about my progress on Brad Paisley's Cluster Pluck, make sure to like and subscribe so you can be notified. I'll be posting it up here once I'm done, but we'll be breaking down each of the guitar parts for that song because it is a whirlwind and I think everybody should learn how to play it. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, let the music play.